Today my topic is regarding .NET Core deployment using Azure DevOps Starter. The new thing about here is whatever the application, either we are using a container or Azure Fabric for deployment in Azure, we need to have some knowledge about the platform which we are going to connect for our deployment. If we are using with the .NET platform, we have two framework, like we have .NET framework as well as the .NET Core version. Both the deployment process is same only, but the way of creating the helm chart or other way of deployment activity is quite different for both the environment. So deploying things in .NET Core needs some of the future that need to be added, that's not available in .NET framework. So that's what I took the topic as .NET Core deployment using Azure DevOps Starter. And we need to discuss something cool about Azure DevOps Starter, what available there, and how we can choose the template there, what kind of application we are going to share or deploy. So .NET Core is something like a growing technology, and it's already grown because people are getting migrating from the .NET framework to .NET Core because of its supportiveness to all kind of platform like Windows or Mac or a Linux platform. So creating and or you are building an application and deploying the application without any additional or supported SDK makes its availability and growth to the top. So it's a top notching technology, and combining these both, we can create a template so we can see how our application is getting deployed from Azure end, and as well as we can able to monitor our containers in a single framework. We are going to perform everything. So this is what we are going to see in today's session. So before that, you already given me introduction. This is about me. For any inquiries, you can reach out me via my Twitter or LinkedIn. So today's agenda is, what is DevOps Starter? Azure is a cloud service, so we are aware of many service, because starting from AD authentication to our publishing activities, we are implementing Azure or any other cloud service provider. But what is like something called DevOps Starter? Because we already have separate portal and separate Citadel to study about DevOps. But what it's differ from DevOps and DevOps Starter? So why we need DevOps Starter, and what about the Docker containerization? What about Azure Kubernetes service and CI/CD pipeline for .NET Core app with DevOps Starter, and how we are going to deploy our sample templates from our Azure portal along with our Azure DevOps. So today we are going to see all those topic in crisp and clear. So DevOps Starter, we don't need to set up a separate environment for hosting our application or for deploying our application, either from your on premise to your Azure or any other cloud service provider, while you are doing or activities in your .NET Core or framework environment. So at the same time, we need a single framework to maintain every activities, like your developing activity, your deploying activity, and you can able to monitor the health of the application you already deployed. So all kind of activity, how you are building your application, same thing you want to do in a single frame. So that's what they created something new called Azure DevOps Starter. Azure DevOps Starter is completely different from Azure DevOps. It is a service oriented for supporting the Azure DevOps. So you can monitor your code commits, build and deployment from a single view in Azure portal. You don't need to go to your Azure DevOps portal for checking your deployment activities, about your build and release. So you can see from your Azure portal itself, you can monitor its health and how many requests and all those activities accompanied along with your deployment activity. So you don't need a lot of time to deploy your application to Azure. And it as we know already, it's DevOps itself automated build. So CI/CD pipeline will be automated in DevOps Starter also. So this is about DevOps Starter. And other thing to add in DevOps Starter is, we can able to choose the template of application we are going to deploy. So that makes us to create the actual files inside for particular application that we need to be deployed. So that is something new, and in a preview version it's been available. So we can implement by means of while we it gone into the live, and already some of the features been already in live. So we can build our application and we can deploy from portal itself, or if we are having in on premise, as per the normal norms, we need to do the build activity, push activity, and we need to publish artifact activity from our on premise environment. So that is about DevOps Starter. Why we need DevOps starter. Already this been something related to the previous slide. If we have single view of all activities about our DevOps environment or all the build release activity, and we can able to connect, if I'm having my on-premise environment, so I need to connect the code or something from a DevOps to my on-premise. If you feel like you are doing downloading something and again make cloning something, and you need to clone with your on-premise, and then you need to do some changes, again you need to commit, and this kind of activity being reduced, the number of activity done by the developer end and the operational end will be reduced while we are implementing the DevOps starter. So we can able to link our on-premise or link our DevOps environment directly by a single click. So I don't need to go and check the project where my team been deployed my recent commit. So I don't need to check the other activities, like if I want to clone with Git or some other things, so I don't need to do separately by step. Everything I can go from a single view in a Azure portal itself, and we can use the pull request to manage your code flow and keep your quality high. This is main concept, because pull request, we need to manage the code flow, we need to use the pull request. That activity is in DevOps starter is easier compared to other environments. So we can test build each commit before you merge your code to raise the quality bar. So this is also a important concept. We can able to analyze the code, and we can able to test, and we can able to build the application like error free, or we can predict what kind of error, and we can give the cases accordingly when we are doing this activity from DevOps starter. You can also able to track your backlog and issues right along with your application. You don't need to set up a separate application inside for your application which you are going to deploy either in DevOps along with Azure Kubernetes or something. You can just monitor your health, including your container health, from the same view itself. Docker containerization. As a developer, when we are going to the business team, we are operational team, we are confused with a lot of the terminology. What exactly? Because some people say like containerization, some people say like you just need to deploy into the container, and some people say that I need the Docker image or something. Then we just confused of what exactly. So when we are analyzing, before we are approaching our operational team, what the terminology belongs to, what the terminology as a DevOps engineer people are using, so that need to be clear before we start to work in a operation team along with the operation team as a developer. So Docker containerization, a standard unit of software, package software into the standardized unit for development, shipment and deployment. So containerization is a process. Docker is a tool, so we need to be clear, like it is a process of making a package of a software, so the development, shipment and deployment activity can be performed. So the platform, pipeline, application evaluation, all the three things that considerably coincide with your Docker containerization. The platform address the global architecture requirement for your application. It's like a portfolio. If we have my name, I just need a portfolio. I need to give some requirement basics like networking, storage, logging and monitor information. And pipeline is like it's a unified platform, so that it's secure and it build automated end-to-end application delivery. So application evaluation examines your complete application portfolio, and it attribute to help you to prioritize the candidate for containerization, maintenance and refactoring. So this is all those three prime concepts need to be understood before we are going to the getting into the knowledge of Docker containerization. So what is Docker means, what is containerization means, and what together Docker containerization means. So that makes a developer to be a friendly with our operational team, because terminology is somewhat basic concept to be understand before we getting into the DevOps. So containerized application, this is how my package of application get together along with my Docker, and where my host operating system and infrastructure will be up and one above below. So while I am containerizing my application, what I will get, think like you are having a microservice architecture application either in any code languages. If it is a Java or in a C# or any language, I have a microservice application where I have separate service. If one service fails, the service related to another will work. The particular service that fails need an attention. if I do everything, if I deploy everything as a single application to my Kubernetes or any somewhere like Azure DevOps or somewhere, if something fails, it will affect the entire health of my application. So I need to check. It's very hard for me to evaluate where the failure is. So for that purpose, we are getting into the containerization. So exact failure happens where, so exact actions need to be taken where. So it makes us easy for us to understand and analyze the issue based on the location where it is located and the container where it is being deployed. So that activity is like a packaging the software as a package, so we can deploy that into your Kubernetes service. That is like a containerization process. So this is architecture and infrastructure, how we are performing our containerization activity. So what is Azure Kubernetes? Like already we already having a Kubernetes concepts in lot of platforms. What is in Azure? We need to go for a beginner level things. So it is used to build, deliver, and scale our containerized apps. So this is like a deployment activity. Our application need availability, and as a result of the build and other release actions, we need our application to available to all the user who been using, and at the same time we need to deliver the end-to-end application for to meet the business requirement. For that activity, we are using the Azure Kubernetes. It removes the complexity of managing multiple containers deployed across multiple servers. It may act as a cost paying for me, because if I deploy all the containers to different server, it will create some money wise issues also, as well as I need to have my think about my data storage, how it goes beyond my extent. So implementing your container based application is a portable, scalable, and it is in an extensible way. So whenever you are planning to, not only your microservice architecture, whenever your application that have the service that contains two or more, you need to go with your containerization activity, so that it makes its way to be extensible. It manages the load, because whenever we are creating a AKS as a service in Azure, it will create me a virtual machine only. Whatever the properties that is applicable to my VM, load balancing, failure recovery, all the features will applicable to my AKS also. When we are doing or creating a service, we will get the knowledge about this. And when it is used to manage the resource allocation and scaling, this concept is also quite similar to our VM concept only. Resource allocation, because in VM we have the virtual network, load balancer, and another thing to process and split server things, so it may make your application to scale. All the concepts being applicable to Azure Kubernetes also. It makes your application self-healing by identifying exact issue by using the monitorization of Azure. It will analyze the issue and makes the issue to application to self-heal itself if the issue is fixed from the server end. So if the issue is because of server request or other thing because of load balancing or failure recovery, all those issues will be self-recovered from your application end. So you don't need someone to maintain or monitor and analyze the logs for a minute or for a day. So this is quite interesting when we are doing this from Azure Kubernetes. So Kubernetes with the DevOps, because we cannot work simply on Kubernetes with the DevOps. We need both as together to deliver a code better quality with CI and CD pipeline. That's what Kubernetes and Azure DevOps as a combination is good to go. So it manages the resource effectively with the infrastructure as a code. It accelerates the feedback loop with constant monitoring, balance the speed and security with DevOps. Because we cannot say like it's like security is not needed. Wherever data is there, we need compliance things. We need to maintain the data privacy, and we need to protect our client credential. Even if we are doing the deployment activities also, it's our responsibility to do that. So at the same time, we need to balance the speed, the request of the server, and other activities that we need to do from our application end. All those activities need to be maintained by the single containers or a single framework that can be done together with the DevOps. So Kubernetes together with DevOps is efficient and in-demand skill to get into the role of DevOps engineer or higher roles that corresponding to your DevOps platform. So this is how my DevOps workflow with my Kubernetes. So if I'm having an IDE, either Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio 2019, 2017 plus, just using a test and debugging the analysis with Kubernetes Dev cluster. Once I'm getting my source control, I can be able to perform other activity like ACR, Azure Container Registry activity. I don't need to perform this activity as a separate service. Whenever I'm creating Azure DevOps Starter service, my Azure Container Registry service also getting created. So I don't need to create separately as a service, and as a pay as go service again need to pay separately. All those things will be clubbed together when I am creating a Azure DevOps Starter service in Azure. Along with that, the next is like Kubernetes production cluster. This Kubernetes clusters also, if I want to create a separate Kubernetes cluster as Azure Kubernetes service, I can create. But if we are going with Azure DevOps Starter, we don't need to create this activity also. It being created at backend as a automate if we are going from Azure portal and along with the DevOps. If it is from on-premise, we need to do manually from on-premise as a traditional method, but all the files that correspond for your deployment will be already predefined in your DevOps Starter. Once it is done, it takes you to the build and release pipeline. Your build and release pipeline makes the action, other actions. Once all those actions been done, my entire application that been deployed, we can able to monitor, and we can able to log also what are the error issues, what are the server requests that been approach my application, everything. So this is complete overflow or a workflow chart, how my DevOps along with my DevOps starters is work together when I am deploying my application from my Azure portal end as well as from my on-premise end. So let's go to the demo. Usually if you see, if we are creating our, it is a automated build and commit, so build and release. So whenever I'm going from my Azure portal, it will create my first build and release. So I don't need to do other activity, and my application will also be monitored along with this endpoint, external endpoint. I will have my Kubernetes cluster, and along with that application inside. Those kind of things I haven't added. So you can see, and this is how our application will looks like. We can able to connect this from here itself, so we don't need to see it's a project homepage or something. You can connect from your portal itself. So if you see here, I can able to clone with my source control. I can able to view my build and release pipeline. Again, I can able to view my backlogs, users and group. If I don't want, I can delete. So this is the main concern that Azure DevOps Starter together have in it. So if I go with the Azure service, I can see my Kubernetes cluster. I can able to view separate health monitorization of my Kubernetes cluster. Once I created my application, the same application I just created for a sample template will be replicated to my Azure DevOps environment also. So whatever the new commits or new thing I need to add, I just change the application, and then again I can able to redeploy to my Kubernetes. So it's a single hand activity, you don't need to do much. So before getting started into this, we just see how the framework actually looks like, view of the Azure DevOps Starter looks like once we create and deploy our application. So just it's a simple service. So you just go with Azure DevOps Starter. So it will have the service with that. I already have some service. If you want, you can create new. So this is where you need to, if you want to do from Azure end, you need to choose the template of application you are going to deploy. So if I am going with .NET, it supports both my .NET framework as well as .NET Core, or along with IoT application also. If it is other things like PHP or Java, something, you need to choose the exact framework, what kind of application you are going to deploy. So or else you can use your own code also by selecting the last option. I'm just going with the .NET Core. So in .NET Core, we having lot of things. As I told before, the ASP.NET is differ from .NET Core. We have something different. The changes are very limited, but it's completely opposite. So choose your template exactly according to your framework. So if you have a DB attached to your application, probably most of the application will have EF Core or other thing have my DB migration. So choose the database accordingly if you need. So this is like a service you want to, all those service will support. It's purely depend on your need. If you want to add your Kubernetes service or Azure service fabrics or any other container for web apps, so choose accordingly. Now we are choosing the Kubernetes service alone. So it is a project name that will going to replicate in your Azure DevOps. So give a meaningful project name that is exactly matching your project that you're going to deploy to your DevOps. This is the organization. You can see here, this is the organization that is available in my DevOps. So this Azure portal with the DevOps starter already have the links by this manner, where it connects to my organization where this project need to be placed. So this is a place, and choose the subscription. This is a Kubernetes cluster that you need to create. I already told you, you don't need to create a separate service while you are doing from DevOps starter. It is already predefined. So if you want to create new, you can create, or else it will use the existing one. So this is the location you want to host yours one. This is a VM. So you need to choose the size accordingly to your requirement, and along with the node command. Additional setting is like a container registry activity will be done predefinedly. You don't need to do. If you want to change your node count or other things, you just go and change. So once it is done, queue done. So it will take some time for your sample application, because we are going from Azure portal in. The same thing is applicable for our on-premise environment also, but we need to follow the traditional approach what we will do when we are doing the DevOps activity. Like we need to create an image. After that, we need to publish perform the publish artifact futures. So those kind of activity, this is a template application, so it is readily moved to your DevOps environment. You don't need to do any other activity other than this. After my application is deployed, I will get the page as I shown here. So my first build and my release will be succeeded automatically. I don't need to trigger anything. After that, I can able to view my application here. At the same time, I can able to find my application being at my DevOps also. So that is easy to monitor. So this is the application that been deployed. So this is the Kubernetes service. So I am not creating any supported service for this. It's auto and predefinedly created. I can able to monitor my containers and logs via this. Along with my server request and other activity here. This is application inside. So this is what I want to deliver today. So though it is a simple step, but there is lot of things we need to do while we are doing from on-premise environment. Getting the knowledge of DevOps starter, Azure DevOps starter, make us to grow a lot in our DevOps platform, because it's a club of every activity we are going to perform in other end. It is a DevOps end, or from a code end, or from a on-premise end. So this makes a developer end as well as the operational team to work faster with a good feedback delivery from our customer end also. So Kelly, go through this. This is all about my session today.
Thank you, Manika, for driving us deeper into development of .NET and Azure Kubernetes Service, using Azure DevOps, and also a beautiful demo by how we can deploy at the end of the session, whichever you delivered. So that was a great insight. So we have one quick question, like what are the possible ways we can ways to, to start this DevOps? Any particular thing people have a prior knowledge or something on this?
Actually, I'm a developer. When I'm started this DevOps activity, it's somewhat difficult for me to get a knowledge of terms itself. So, but when I go on through DevOps Starter, I don't need a prior knowledge of DevOps. At least we need a knowledge about deployment. What are the deployment activity we will do in DevOps, Azure DevOps. So,
Okay.
if we have that, that is enough to do this kind of activities.
Okay.
So that much knowledge is enough to do basic deployment activity in our DevOps. Along with that, if you have some knowledge about Docker, that is also well sufficient to start working in Azure DevOps Starter.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Menika, for a wonderful talk.
Thank you, Savita.